Everyone, good to have you online today. And how has it been your day? So this morning, today we're going to be telling the story, and this is a parable of the 10 talents. The parable of the 10 talents. Jesus was telling his disciples this parable, and the parable of the 10 talents of a master who was about to go on a journey, and then he decided to share talent to a servant. So he had 3 servants. He gave one 5 talents, he gave the other 2 talents, and he gave the other one. And then he expected them to trade with the talents. When he comes back, his expectation was to give account of the talents they were given. So this man went on the journey, and then he left those talents to those people and expecting something back when he returns, an account to be given. So the Jesus made us to realize in this parable that out of those, the one that was given 5 traded with the 5, and then he got extra, double it up to make 10. The one that had 2 also traded, tried so hard with the 2 given, and then he made it 4. Then the one that had just 1, do you know what he did? Guess what? He went ahead and he buried it. In his heart, he felt, can you imagine? This man gives me 1 talent. He wants to reap where he had not sown. Excuse me, I'm going to bury this talent. And then he buried the talent. And so the master had gone on a long journey, so it was time for the master to return. When the master returned, the master call on the 3 of them. Oh, yeah, I've gone on a journey, and I think before I left, I gave you guys some talent to trade with. And then they all began to give account of what they did with the talents. The one with 5 came up and said, okay, master, you gave me 5 talents, and from that 5 talents, I was able to double it up to make it 10. And then the master was so happy with the report he got. And then the other one also said, oh, master, you gave me 2, and then I have been able to get more 2 to make it 4. And then it got to the turn of dear one that has 1. And then the master said, oh, how about you? And he said, oh, master, I knew you are the kind of master that wants to reap where you've not sown. So I decided to bury the talent. How? And then the master felt so sad and so surprised. And then he said to him, since this while I've given you this talent, can I have it, please? Give it to me. And then he gave the master 1 talent. The 1 talent that was given to him, he returned it back to the master. And then the master collected it, and then he gave it to the one that had 5 that made it 10. And then he said, the Bible now said to us that it is from who that does not have, from who that does not have, to be taken and given to he that has. The one that has 5 worked so well to make it and then make it 10. So eventually, the one that had 5 eventually had 11 instead of 10. So after telling this parable, Jesus said that the unprofitable servant will be cast into the burning furnace, fiery furnace. And then let's just liken this talent to our lives. Many of us have different talent that God has bestowed, has endowed in us. What really are we doing with them? Some of us are like those who have that 5. We are trying to make it, to work so hard, and then we just realize that we have more talents. From 1 talent, you begin to discover another. Some have 2, they're also working. And why some just have 1? They're not using it. If you refuse to use the talent God has given you, then you can be likened to be called one of those, to be called that man that buried his talents. This time, it is not necessarily you going to dig the ground and putting something, the talent in it. But if you do not use it, then that means you are burying it. And we should all remember that there is a time to give account of whatever we are being given to. So not to talk so much, from this story we have learned, from this parable, I'm able to get some lessons we can learn from it. The first lesson learned from this parable is that as individuals, we have been given different talents according to our capability. Let's take note of that capability. Yeah. God, the master that gave those talents to his servants, realized, he knew that they could work very well with those talents. If God has deposited in you 5, he has given another 2, he has given another 1. He's not a partial God. He gave to everyone according to that which they can do, according to their capabilities. In addition to the above point on that last day, each of us will give account of how we have used our talents, if multiplied or buried. We need to realize that each talent given to us, we are going to give account of it. And also, we should always remember, do not envy people in their place, people who are trying to bring out their talents. Discover your own talent. Who knows, probably the guy that buried his talent, it might just probably be out of envy, out of jealousy, that made him like, can you see this master? He's giving all that small, he just gave me 1. That one you give me, you're going to meet it where you left it. But we shouldn't look at that. He has given everyone according to what they can handle. He realized that the one that was given 5 can handle that 5, and that is why he gave him the 5. So we need to be very careful when we see people work in your own. You need to work in your own ministry. You still need to work in your own ministry, never minding what others face your own, because for everyone, and most times, oftentimes, when you, in the place of doing the talent, in the place of manifesting in the place that God has called you, you realize that you begin to discover more. It is in the place of their talent that they discover more, at which you can imagine the one that has 5. It was while working with those 5 that he was able to get 5 more. Had it been that one that had 1 has also worked with that talent, that piece, some would say money, with that thing that his master has given to him, it would have yielded. But because he decided to go and get it buried, that's why he was not able to give any feedback really, and then it was collected from him. Also, there is a reward for everyone on how you have used your talents. The rewards could either be eternal rejoicing in heaven, or casting into outer darkness where there is gnashing of teeth. For instance, those that are giving, the one that gave 5, the one that multiplied to become 10, the one that had 2 that multiplied to become 4, and the one that had 1, eternally, we know that those ones that were able to use that, yes, on the day of reckoning, on the day where they will be giving account of how they've used their talent, we know definitely that those ones will make it to heaven. But the one who God has given 1 and is not using it, that's a place of outer darkness, gnashing of teeth. So we need to look at ourselves and think, why really am I on earth? Why really has God created me? What are those things that God has deposited in me? And sometimes there are people, many times, not even sometimes, many times God has deposited people who are to be beneficiaries of that talent he has given to you. And you can imagine souls perishing. You can imagine those people you're making to suffer because you have refused to use that which God has given to you. So you need to be careful, not saying it is my life. It is God who has created that life, and you need to be very, very careful about it. So because you have discovered 1 talent does not mean you have just 1, just as I've said earlier. Those ones that had 5, at the very long run, they ended up making 5 more to make 10. The other one, 2 more, making 4. And even if it is money, because you have certain amount, because some passages say coin, because you have certain amount does not mean if you trade well with it, if you work well with it, if you're able to trade well, you realize that you get profit from it. But money that you just held on to, you did not even the master had to tell the servant, like, you you would have kept it in a bank. And that was why a new bank had been in existence for a very long time. You would have kept it in the bank. It would have yielded interest. So even if it is money you were given and you refused not to use it, you just kept it, you're not spending, you're not using it for any, you're not buying to sell anything from it, definitely it cannot yield. So it is out of releasing that you get more. And that's why the Bible says that it is from he who does not have that it will be taken and given to he who has. So if you that has been given decided not to give out, then eventually it will be taken from you and it will be given to the person who is willing and who has been willing and who has been using his or hers. Give so that you shall be given. The Bible says, good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over shall men give unto you. We need to learn to give. It is the heart of giving. Give out that which you have. Give out that which you have in your heart, which God has deposited in you. When you give, from that you're building people. And when you build people, you're also growing. Don't hold on to that idea. Don't hold on to that gift to yourself. God has given it not to you alone, but for the profit of others too. So that is all we could learn on the parable of the talents. Hope you benefited in it one way or the other, and you're able to learn one thing or the other. The bottom line of today's story of the parable of the 10 talents is giving. Use the talent at which God has given you. Thank you. See you again next time. Bye.